Hey, what up, y'all? It's your boy Scoob, and welcome to Spider's Diecast. So, thank you all for being here with me this evening. So, anyway, here's my box of Ferrari goodness, courtesy of Hot Wheels. The good folks there. So, yeah, it's an eBay purchase. Yeah, let me get into that, a little bit later, but. Yeah, just like a lot of other people didn't have no luck, finding any on the shelves. I don't even think they, stocked any, down here yet. And if they did, people, I guess people been taking them. But anyway, I paid just a little bit, extra for them. But being a Ferrari guy, I had to have them. That's the majority of my collection. A lot of things, I collect a lot of other stuff, but Ferrari, is basically pretty much number one. So, getting ready to open this. I ain't finna just get on my soapbox and get into some spiel about these scalpers and how hard it is to find these Ferraris and all that other bullshit, because I want to get this video done before it start getting dark. It fucks up my lighting, language, I know. And then on top of that, I need to head to the store right after this. So without further ado, I'm gonna get this baby open for y'all. Gotta set it to the side just a little. They packed it up pretty good. Yeah, this is one of the. This is an unboxing that I hadn't done in a while. Usually I already have it out of the box, but this is a special occasion. These are the first Ferraris in about a decade, and we're about to see what's up, up close and personal. So yeah, this was a lot of 6, 2 of each of every model, because I wanted one as is and then the other one for customs. Let me go get my scissors, y'all. All right, I'm back. All right, these two right here are the F40s, the Ferrari F40 Competizione. All right. Let's check out this other one, see what that's working with. Yeah, they did pack this up pretty good. A little too good. But I'd rather have that than, some people just half-assing it. And then your stuff get, effed up. So I should count my blessings there. This right here is these are the Ferrari 365 GTB4 Competizione. Yeah, they've been leaning into the racing versions. It's Hot Wheels. You won't buy the filth, Sorry about that, y'all. I was watching Bar Rescue and my computer froze up on me. I forgot I didn't pause it. Oh yeah. If you're wondering, I'm watching season 9 of that. So anyway, this is the last batch. These are my Ferrari SF90 Stradales. So we got everything out. So let's get to cracking. Well, I should say, let's get it cracking. All right. Don't want to, go on too much of an inspection because, this video, it'll be longer than I want it to be. All right, let's open this one. There's a little bit more of a, I wouldn't say a defect, but, a little nub right there on the grill. Let's give it a little light. Not bad. Not too shabby. Now, normally, I would prefer, just the standard F40. The standard version of any car, really, rather than the racing version. But, I like the competitiones too. So I'm not, and these are the first Ferraris in about 10, 11 years. So I'm not going to get too nitpicky. Even though, I really would prefer a racing, the standard window instead of that right there. Instead of the racing window, but, it is what it is. That's what was on, some of these when you got ready to race with them. And then Hot Wheels, they wanted to lean into that racing side of Ferrari anyway. So it makes sense. Another, detail of the competition is when, is these headlights, Now on the standard F40, you have about 4 of these lights, in the front. You had the headlights down here, and then, some fog lights, right, behind them. But on these, this is just 2 big old lights, 2 big old headlights. And you can kind of see, they molded a little bit of detail in the plastic right there, so it can look like the bulbs. Pretty neat. Ferrari emblem right there, and then the Scuderia shields on the sides. Given that these are mainlines, that's pretty much all you're gonna get from Hot Wheels anyway. Yeah, cheap bastards. And then taillights are at least well defined enough for you to paint them and then, have some good detail if you're a customizer. So yeah, this is pretty legit. Okay, these are the little stats right here. Well, yeah, the story behind it. Born 1989 in Italy. Designer Ferrari, actually Pininfarina, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, originally intended to race at Le Mans, the Ferrari F40 Competizione was a much more powerful version of the F40 LM. Its reinforced chassis, 720 horsepower engine, racing gearbox and other games made it a prized possession for private collectors. Ain't that the truth? A total of 8 to 10 vehicles were manufactured, making it a true rarity. Not bad. Not bad at all. So yeah, about that rarity thing, and then the private collector thing, yeah. These things, they easily go for seven figures. So yeah. If you got the LM, I'm pretty sure you'll be coughing up the even more bucks. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the LM, the F40 LM. Now we get to this, the 365 GTB4 Competizione, better known as the Daytona, but in racing regalia. All right, let's read this too. Turn that on. With a modified, born 1968 in Italy, with the modified engine sporting 430 brake horsepower and an all aluminum body with plastic windows to lighten its load, this highly competitive endurance racer was built for speed. It crushed the competition with class wins at the 24 Hours of Le Mans and Daytona 24 Hours. So yeah, that's the mumbo jumbo right there, describing its accomplishments and its specs. So take a good look at that. Pretty nice. I kind of had my doubts about this one because, it's a little plasticky, especially with the front lip, with the entire front end. But, they did a good job with it, good enough. With the lights right there, I guess you would have had to do that. I wish I had my the standard, Date 365 GTB4 out. Got plenty of those. They made those about a good 25 years ago. Really love that casting. So, yeah, the thing about that one, being the standard one, it's a lot cleaner. That's the one that I would prefer, actually. And then, on top of that, it had a metal base. So anyway, but this is pretty nice. One thing that distinguishes the Competizione casting is the fact that besides the plastic base, it has the lip. It has the the exhausts molded into the interior, so the exhaust can stick out of the base. So I thought that was pretty cool. Detail ain't too bad. They still got the Daytona seats, with the stripes stitched into them. So that's a pretty cool sign. So we're about to get this other one, the last one out with the SF90 Stradale. I'm pretty much going to open all of these, and put them in my jammers. Well, the ones I want to keep as is, I'm going to get straight to stripping, with the ones I want to use for customs. So, yeah. This is my SF90, which is one of the current Ferrari models in real life. So finally, we can get to the specs on this one. Born 2019 in Maranello, Italy. 2019. Whatever you want, however you want to say that. Okay. And the designer is definitely in-house, with Ferrari. Because, them and Pininfarina kind of parted ways, a few years back. But anyway, drive beyond dreams and accelerate from 0 to 60 in just 2.5 seconds with this scorching hybrid hypercar. The future-forward design, combined with 986 horsepower, makes it a spectacle of speed and elegance. After all, it's a Ferrari. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. So yeah, let's check this out real quick. Blacked out wheels, like how most of them are in real life. Not a bad looking dash. So that gives me a lot of high hopes as far as the customizing tip goes. Giving you the best look at this engine as I possibly can. Maybe I need to start using a flashlight for that. Yeah, but I guess that would probably start put on more glare. Speaking of that, they textured the roof pretty well, just so you can have some differentiation between that and the windows. On top of it, looking less cheap than what it should for a mainline. So that was a nice little touch I do appreciate very much. Good job, Hot Wheels. So yeah, Ferrari badge in the front. Got the headlights right there. Again, the Scuderia shields on the sides. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, nothing on the back, but who really cares? Come on. Again, this is, again, a decade since Ferrari, came back to Hot Wheels, so you can't really be too nitpicky. Beggars definitely can't be choosy these days, especially with these little Ferraris. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Got these three. Gonna stick them right there. I'm gonna do them like this. And that's a wrap, folks. So thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'm glad that, my Ferraris, arrived. And yeah, that's how it's supposed to roll. Yeah. Much, much better. So anyway, can't wait to get into customizing the other ones. So yeah, can't wait for the other Ferraris to get in my hands if at all possible, but at a reasonable enough price, because the F50's coming out. People already got the La Ferrari from the Euro Speed set in premiums, the car culture set. You know what I'm talking about. And then we hadn't even gotten to the Ferrari 250 GTO, which is, going to be in the Team Transport series. Now that's the one I really want, because I love the classic Ferrari. The classic Ferraris from the 60s are the best. And out of all the Ferraris, that ever, Ferrari'd. And it's going to come with that sweet Fiat hauler. And it's a double deck hauler too. I don't really get too excited about haulers because, it's more about the car. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for both models, but especially the car itself, the 250 GTO. So anyway, I talked long enough. So yeah, finna put these up. Finna get my butt on out of here. And I'm gonna see y'all good folks later. All right, y'all. Have a good one.